Hello, my name is Valarie Shreves. I am a Techie Tribe Ambassador for Ross Elementary. Last year, I taught second grade virtual, and that's where I discovered Whiteboard.Chat, which is the platform I'd like to show you today. It's an interactive website that allows for collaboration between teachers and students in real time. Today, the objectives are to simply explore the platform for its functionality. I hope that you are able to discover some applications for your classroom. And because Whiteboard.Chat can be shared through Teams, it's great for collaborating at the campus level. I have a picture of my family there. I would just like to share. I hope your summer has been great. And so we're going to jump right in, and I would like to show you, this is the website. Don't log in just yet. There's some important things the first time that you do that. But I want to show you as a teacher the dashboard functionality for you, and that's going to be found under Manage Boards. You can see that I've created a few boards for you to view today. And I want to point out that you're going to be able to go in and see each student's board after you are finished. You can see it during the interactions, but you can also go back later. These boards are saved. So I'm just going to peek in at a board that I've already played around with as a student. And you can see that I am able as a teacher to view exactly what that particular student's work was for that day. And so one of the things before we get started, I need to let you know, the very first time that you get into Whiteboard.Chat, you will name yourself, and that name doesn't really change. So be aware of that when you are practicing during this webinar. For each device, you're going to want a different name as well. So my laptop, I've named Mrs. Shreves. My desktop computer, I just named Shreves. And then today, you might even notice I used my phone. I wanted to practice with that, and I just named it Valarie's iPhone. So when you're getting in for the first time, whatever username you want to show up to your class, you want to use that name. Okay, don't worry about getting in just yet. I want to show you what this is going to look like. As you can see here, this is what the website looks like from the very front page, Whiteboard.Chat. And I just want to show you, I'm going to scroll through some options that you have on that very first page. You can see as you scroll down, it looks a little bit different. This is one of the really great features of Whiteboard.Chat. You can share a website that students can click on without leaving the platform. It literally will start the video for you right here on the same page. And every student has their own board. I'll explain that later. And so they can just click on and start that video.
I'm going to show you
and if you want, you can even make it bigger and get it to work. And so, but I don't want to play that whole video right now. But I just wanted to share with you that there are some trainings videos that are very, very quick on that front page for you to refer back to later. And so I want to go ahead and take you to a Whiteboard.Chat just to show you around a little bit. We are going to take some time to pause and actually get in and discover yourself. There'll be three chances or so for you to stop the video and go in and try it on your own. So I already have a whiteboard open just to show you what we're going to go through. Sorry, I didn't go back to page 1. Let me get on page 1 for you. And so I want you just to see what it looks like. And then you're going to get in, create a board as a teacher, and get to play. So just for right now, I want to share, this is what the teacher board looks like. This is templates that I have imported in very quickly. And then I have added some blocks to the side so that the students can manipulate those. And just real quickly, let me show you the student board, what their version looks like, and it may not be on the front page. I may have to go back because I was playing around with these. Let me get it on page 1 for you. And so Here is what the student version looks like that has been manipulated once they've gotten in. So the teacher creates the board. Every student in the class gets their own individual board. And so a student, let's go to the student board, can take and move things around on the board. Say, let's add one more to the side. And so let's say that this is what the student's work looks like. Now it is incorrect because we've added an extra 100, but that's okay. I want to show you what we can do as a teacher with that. So I have the student's demonstration board open so that I can see it. And as a teacher, you have one demonstration board if you want to play what the student would look like. So as a teacher, you can, I'm going to see if I can move this out of the way. Yay, there we go. As a teacher, you can see every student in your class at the same time, the boards they're working on. Here, I've clicked on the grid view. This is the teacher board here. The middle board is the demo student, and you can see I moved that extra block there. And then this third one is the one I used when I got on my phone, just so we would have some examples of multiple students. And you can see that every student's board is individual. So that's really an real-time feedback. Whether you are virtual or whether you are in person, you can use this as a class all together. You can use it as a class asynchronous, where some students work on it throughout the day. There's lots and lots of possibilities with that. And so the features that I really love as well, I can click on a board and I can join that board with the student. So I am now with student 1 and say that they do have this second board. I can help them figure out how to maybe correct that. I can go in and I can say, student 1, let's look at your second block here. I see 1, but then I see a second block, and I'm actually writing on their board and they can see it where they're at. So I might then say, okay, so now what would your hundreds value be? And then they could change it into the 2 to erase. And I'm going to show you all the tools later. They could go in and erase and then choose to write the 2. Okay. And so I'm still on that student board with them. To go back to the grid view, I would click at the bottom. I can see all of the students again. And if I want to go back to my board, it says go to instructor, so that the instructor board is the one showing. I do want to point out that I chose these blocks here, and I made those to where the students could clone them. Every time the student clicks, it makes a new block for them. Okay, so that is a feature I'm going to show you a little bit more about later. But for right now, just to give you an idea of what a teacher shared board looks like. Let's look at another example. Place values. This is already in the program. And so I just wanted to show you a different place value for higher level. This can be used from pre-K all the way up into high school. There are lots and lots of different templates. I want to show you another one. This one, we have a 10 frame and a number line. I have pre-added some stamps in here, and I'm actually going to bring in, if I can, my Zoom picture is kind of in the way. Let's roll a dice. So say we have 6 now. So, and I need to get to page 3 here for me, just because I'm in the student view. This is the teacher view, and this is the student view. And I actually need to add that dice in teacher view. So here's my teacher. Let's add the dice here so that everyone can see it. Happen to roll a 6 again. So as the student view, there's their board. And if I want to see the entire class, remember, I can see it in that grid view. Oh, these little things are going to be in my way. And I can see the third student as well. They have not changed to the page we're on. And I don't have that on my phone, so it's not going to change anymore today. So let's go as a student. If I roll the 6, I can take and select. Again, these are cloned. So I can use 6 in the frame. And I want you to be thinking about, if you're in middle school or high school, what are some things that you could use differently? I know that these are designed for lower level. I teach second, so that's kind of some of the things that I might use. What could you use some of these things for? And so I could also show on the number line 6 hops. And because it's an open number line, I could even, if I say get the number 10, I would have my students number those 1 to 6, by the way. But if it's an open number line and say we roll the 10, I could even do 1 and label it 10, just to get those differences to practice. And it's really great because each time we roll that dice, all the students have that. I do want to share with you, you can have double dice, so you can add, subtract with those as well. The dice is really actually pretty fun. Okay. So I want to get back to the main view. It's rolling again. Let's go to this page. I want to share the difference between what we've used so far are what we call gizmos, and those are on the side. There's also widgets, but right now we're going to be focusing just a little bit more on those gizmos. This is going to be the last page I show you before I want you to actually stop the video yourself. Let me hide my dice now that I'm done with that. You simply can just hide it again. And so this is just another way of interacting that I wanted to demonstrate for you. You can go in and add some of those manipulatives to use within the program. And I wanted to briefly share with you how to do that. That avocado and the chihuahua that I already had it in, I want to show you how simple it is to just add items. So I'm going to add a counter, and I want the students to be able to use that over and over. So right here, enable students clone. I'm enabling that as I add it. And let's also do, let's just do a different color for the chart. So I want to be able to clone that as well. And if you want to resize, you just click on the side, move or resize, and you can just make it smaller or bigger. It will make it smaller or bigger on your student's board. Everything I do to mine is done to the student board. Here's the student board, page 5, and you'll see that those are already added into their boards. It does it real time. So if you're using it during instruction, you can just add it and the kids get it right away. So let's be the student now. And I'm going to use the dot, the yellow dot. Oh, sorry, I clicked in draw, sorry. I'm going to use the yellow dots to practice my touch counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. It's just an example. And then maybe you want to use a 120s chart or a 100s chart where you are practicing maybe counting by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, and there's a whole lot of possibilities here. You can look at taking the various tools such as drawing. We could first use the highlighter and go through and highlight. I don't think my line's very big at this time, but highlight the 5s and then the 10s, and then place those chips on each one for differentiation for your students. Now it is time for you to go and explore. Go to Whiteboard.Chat. When it opens, you're going to click Start Drawing. In the choices that you see, you want to use Start Teaching. This is going to create collaboration boards for you and your students, where every single student will receive their own board, and you will be able to see in grid view each student. When you get in, you can name, if you would like to go ahead and name your board. I'm just going to name Test 1. Take a few minutes to explore the Gizmo section. Scroll through, find a couple of items that you feel you might use in your classroom. There are items for a lot of different grade levels, so try that out now. Pause the video and come back after you've explored for just a few minutes. Okay, now that you're back, I want you to realize within those gizmos, see right here where it says manipulatives, that's where we started originally. There is a lot more to it than just that. If you click here, it will open up for you other menus that you can choose from. And so I really had a lot of fun exploring. I'll show you a few of those. I made a page just to show you some options that I thought were interesting for young children. The first one is this Asl Alphabet. And then you can see various versions of the alphabet. They have animals that are fun. You can use these various things for stamping for kids, like for the tin frame. This week it could be a koala bear. Next week it'd be something else. If you want to change that up to get more interesting. One of the things for young students, K2, pre-K2, they have the phonemes. You can put these in and have students manipulate those around on the page. You can make them clonable, where kids can make, say, word families. It's great for using word families. You could do sight words. You could do spelling words with HMH and put them in there for the students to practice those things. The one that says wonderful working out is a feedback stamp. So that's under the feedback, and there's various things. So each student's page, remember, you can go to each page and you can very quickly just leave them a little snippet of a feedback. And then these green, you can even use these for various things to display. And so go and explore under gizmos, this button here, go explore some more of those. Pause the video while you do that and come back. Y'all are doing that, my mom's calling. All right, welcome back. So now I would like to share with you the next items that we're going to be looking at. And that is going to be the widgets. And the widgets actually add some excitement into your boards. So this first one I want to look at is the clock. Clocks are interesting because you can actually change how they work. If you click on the hamburger, right now it's under the free hand clock. So if I click on the blue, I can move it and it's independent of itself. If I change to gear clock, it will actually work like a geared clock. So if you want to go around and demonstrate for students how that works, lots of fun options. There is, you've already seen the dice. I hid those a while ago. So this is where I actually had the dice showing up. And so they were living in this little spot. And so it's great to add for a variety of activities. And there's other options that you can go in. I want to share with you. If you want the students to experience a very specific roll order, you can actually do that. That's another great way of being asynchronous. You can give the students what you want them to have without having to do the rolling of the dice or giving them specific numbers. So if I wanted to roll 1 and 4 and 5, it's going to do that. And so that's where you would put it in that spot. So that's a fun little extra part of the dice. There is fraction dice. I really like that. So if you have some upper level students, you can use those for a variety of things. You have a spinner. Now, because I don't have students in my class right now, the spinner is very generic. It's got colors on it. But there is an option for a spinner that actually has your students' names if you want to do that. This is a Rick and Rec, so you can move it and maybe say, you know, whatever versions you want to do, you can put that out there, and it's easy just to reset. You could add multiplication, or you could add, subtract, do those various things with those. These are all found, again, under widgets. And so there's the 2 different kinds of clocks, there's calculators, there's all kinds of fun things in that widget section. So pause the video and take just a moment and go play around with some of those widgets and see what you think you could do there. Welcome back. On this last page, I want to take some time to actually show you some other tools that are at the top of the page and on the side. So you can undo and redo at the top. There's dashed lines that are there for you to use. Then next to that is a highlighter, and within the highlighter you can make it bigger or smaller. This is your pen thickness line. So you're going to scroll up and scroll down to make those thicker. And let's try, I'm still under the dotted line, so I want to take that out. See if I can take that off. And so earlier when I talked about taking and highlighting over students' 120s chart, you can use it for things like that. Now, black is not going to work for you. This pen color circle is where you're going to change the color. I want you to notice that my screen is black accented. When I change the pen color, my screen changes to the pen color. So this student demo color happens to be orange. So that's why all of the accents are in orange. I've changed mine to red, so now it will mark red. So if you need to know what color you're on, you can see the circle or your accents that are on the side of the page. If I want to turn the highlighter off or on, you just click. This is actually the highlighter here with that more opaqueness to it versus the written line. So that's when you would use a highlighter versus just a thick pen. I'm going to take this back down to the thinner line so that you can see the difference. Your text font size you can change. Again, you toggle back and forth. If I'm virtual, I ask my students to be at least 5, simply because when I'm looking, they're writing on their page, but as a teacher, when I'm looking at that grid view, if it's too small, let me get my pen color to go away. I can't see their writing. See how I can see the 2, 1, 2? If it's the size 1, it's really hard to see in the grid view. So ask your students to use at least a 5 or bigger when you are trying to get that accomplished. So can I go? Nope. Let me go all the way back to page 9. Usually it goes straight back to the page. I'm not sure what I hit that time where it was off. And then on the side to the left is where you have different variations of the tool. You can click to draw. You can have lines, arrows, shapes. Let's do the arrow just to show you what happens. When I click it, you can choose from a variety of shapes there, but this is, oops, sorry, I didn't click again. You have to click again. This is the one I really love. You can take and draw something, and to the side, it predicts what the student is trying to draw. So for young students, that's actually a really fun tool because it helps them get their thoughts a little bit better. So there's a tree. I just tried to draw a tree and it predicted that for me. So that's, again, under Magic Draw. So in a little bit, you're going to have a chance to go try some of those yourself. You have the option for text to write things. Click to type if you want a text box, so you can play with those if you want to use just handwriting. The eraser tool lets you erase items. So if I click on that, I can erase my work that I did earlier if I don't like these particular items. So that's our eraser tool. Then inside this box is a few more features that are teacher friendly. They're not necessarily for students. And so you can add grids if you want. There's all different kinds. Music teachers, it gives you the music sheets. Syllaboards if you want those. So it really has a lot of great options for you. If you're wanting just to have the select tool to move your hand around, this is where you would click. And then this bottom one lets you move and resize. Now, before you go play, I do want to point out there are a few options here in settings that let you choose what your students see. For my young students, I actually chose See Very Simple Tools. And I chose that, I saved that. So now, let me see if it'll update where their tools are very simple. If you have older students, you don't want the simple view. And I'm up in this top right-hand corner to get the settings gear is where I'm going to change that. So when you go to play with your board, play with the tools at the top, the left, and then in this settings box. And the one that I really want to point out when we're here, because I haven't showed you this yet, but there is an option that students can only draw on their individual or group boards. That is the one that I turned on every single time, and I'll show you why after you get to explore and you come back and I show you how to share boards. Okay, so pause the video for now and go play with those tools at the top left and in settings. Getting back to the pages while y'all are working. Oops. Okay, so now I would like to show you one kind of last feature that is really helpful for virtual settings, or if you want to share another student's board with the whole class so that you are getting that collaboration piece a little bit more. In the grid view of the teacher, I can choose any student's board to broadcast. So if I click on a student, and it says, earlier I joined a board. I want to use Showcase right now. So I am actually showing that board to all students. If I go to the student demo, they are seeing my phone's view. So if I am in that board with them and I want everybody in the class to see it, that's how I go about doing it. I'm going to do that one more time. So you would click on grid view, the student that you want to broadcast to everyone in Showcase, you open and choose Showcase. And this is where you can see that all three of the other boards are now showing that. This is where it's very important, if you don't want other students writing on each other's boards, you turn off that feature in settings that I showed you earlier. Students can only write on their board, okay? ECISD has chosen to use Teams for colleague interaction. And so we now have the ability to import whiteboards into Teams so that when we are meeting as a campus, we can collaborate in real time through Whiteboard.Chat. And so don't forget about these videos. I know it's kind of squished the lettering a little bit, but there's some really good videos. This first one, I'm going to let play. There is no sound. So when it comes on, I don't want you to feel like that there's missing out. But it's great just because it shows you some variations for some of those higher level classes. And it's just a minute or so long. So I just want to play that for you real quick. There's some higher level math skills that you can use this for, and you can see the students working all at the same time. So this could be an exit ticket for you as students are working at their desk. And rather than you having to walk all around the room, you can set and look at individual students right away. There are options for bingo. If you import a bingo PDF, every student gets their own bingo card. So that's fun ways of playing there. Each student gets their own set. So it's just really a fun platform. So I really encourage you to go explore with it, see what things you can find. Again, my name is Valarie Shreves. You can always email me and ask me some questions. I did add this board to Teams. It is, I don't know that everybody can get to this, but I just wanted to show you when it is added, just in case you want to use this as a campus. There is, once it's added to Teams, people just click on the link and it will open up for you. That's one way you can share it. You can, when I met with students through Google Meets, I just simply put the link for them in the Google Meet and they would click on it. Sorry, I'm going to get kicked out pretty soon. So they would just click on the link and it would open their individual board. And again, I want to remind you, the very first time that you log in to Whiteboard.Chat, whatever you name yourself, it's going to keep it. So for my students, the very first time, I was very picky. I had them make sure it was uppercase, first letter. My son's Thomas, we'll just use him. So it was uppercase T, Thomas, S for his last name. I did not have them put their first and last name in the platform. And so be sure when you're sharing with students for the first time that you're using whatever format of name that you want the student to have. So thank you for your time. I hope it was well. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Good luck exploring, and I hope you find it useful for student collaboration through asynchronous and synchronous learning, and you find a variety of different ways of using the platform. Feel free to send me a link to one of your boards. I would love to see how you guys came up with some ways of using this in your classes throughout the year. I think that would be really, really interesting. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can go out, and thank you again and good luck.